What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Keel Pro Dynasty Show. I'm your host, Caleb, and we are back today with our first rookie mock draft of the year for Dynasty. We'll be running a Superflex mock this time around, and it's a community mock. So if you're a member of the Dynasty Index, which I've been advertising a ton, this is just another perk. You'll get to take part in these periodic mock drafts as we can sort of set a little bit of an ADP and see trends throughout the draft process here, and you'll get your name on screen too. So I'll have links down below if you guys want to join. $3 a month, $20 a year. So join today. A ton of awesome draft stuff and Dynasty stuff. So without further ado, let's hop right into this one. Superflex Rookie Mock 1.0. With the first pick, we have Donnie Hogleg, and he takes Kenny Pickett, quarterback out of Pittsburgh. Obviously in Superflex, quarterback is king. And there are a couple top guys in this class that I've talked about before. I like him and Matt Corral a lot. Obviously some top receiving prospects as well, but Donnie decides to go quarterback with the first pick, and I know he's a big Kenny Pickett fan, and I can't fault him for this pick. I mean, there's so many good landing spots for a guy like Kenny Pickett. Imagine him going to like Denver with the weapons they have there, or even Pittsburgh. I know they need to improve the offensive line, but this is a guy that could start out of the gates for your Dynasty team if he gets a good landing spot. So I'm A-okay with Kenny Pickett going 101. Some people might have him further down, but I have no problem with this pick here. Up next at number 2, we have Nick, and he's going with wide receiver Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. So we don't see back-to-back quarterbacks to start. We see one of the top receivers in this class, Treylon Burks. Obviously, we've talked about it a ton. Athletic specimen. He's 6'3", 225. Sounds like he's going to run a 4.4. He's just a physical beast. Been compared to A.J. Brown. He's that sort of player. Got most likely see him go round. I mean, he's going to go round 1 in the NFL draft. It will be interesting to see where he lands, but just a physical presence. And if you're going to shoot for the stars with a receiver in this class, Burks is the guy to go with. Third pick, we've got Colin from the Firestarters podcast. They do Dynasty Fantasy Football, basketball, all sorts of stuff. So if you want to check them out, there's their ad over there on the right. But Garrett Wilson, he's right up there in that tier with Treylon Burks. Very different receivers. He comes in at 6', 193. And he's just one of those elite route running types that we talk about, able to make defenders miss, just finds ways to get open. Was really good there at Ohio State. Maybe want to see him bulk up a little bit, but with his game, I know we've sort of compared it to Keenan Allen a little bit too. He's one of those receivers where he might be quarterback proof, where Treylon Burks, maybe situation affects it a little bit. Wilson, with how he's able to get as a route runner, able to get open, I think he's one of the safest picks in your Dynasty rookie drafts at the top here, and he's got plenty of upside too. So a great pick here at 3 for Colin. At 4, we have yours truly. Obviously, I'm going to go quarterback here, and Matt Corral, my QB1 right now. I'm very happy to get him at 4. I did have when we picked spots for this rookie mock with everyone, I got to pick first because, And this was sort of the spot I wanted to be because you can get one of the top 2 quarterbacks or you get one of the top 2 wide receivers. So you get the best of both worlds. I would have been happy with any of these guys falling to me. And to get Matt Corral, who is, one of the best quarterbacks in this class, his release is insane. He throws a sick fastball, and he's a true dual threat quarterback. A ton of rushing production out of him. I would love to see him go to a team like New Orleans. I think Sean Payton would really have a fun time with Matt Corral. I think they need to still get him some weapons, but I'm a big fan of Matt Corral. Obviously, he suffered an injury in the bowl game that he decided to play in, but it sounds like it's not serious. He should be fine for the draft, which is great news, and one of the top quarterbacks for you to target in these rookie drafts. Up next, we've got running back Isaiah Spiller taken by Papoose. First running back off the board, and for a while there was a talk of Breece Hall being that guy. Pretty unanimously for most of last year, and Isaiah Spiller has really come on, and it's still a debate for that RB1 spot, but Spiller looks really good. He's got that sort of contact balance you love to see. He's got elusiveness, maybe not elite speed, but he's got really good burst, and he's just going to be a guy that can move the chains at the next level. So, yeah, really nice pick here for Papoose. Up next at 6, we have wide receiver Drake London, taken by Ombravender, Billy from the Offensive Points podcast, the IDP Army podcast. Can't say enough about him, but big receiver, 6'5", 210, and obviously the Mike Evans comparisons are just too easy. We've heard it a million times. He's got that 100th percentile breakout age with analytics people love that draft age. He's not even going to be 21. He'll be 20 when he gets drafted into the NFL, which is crazy. And he's just a dominant ball player. He's not just that downfield guy with contested catches. He can get open. He can make defenders miss. He can just really do it all. Maybe downfield separation he can work on, and I know he's not doesn't have crazy good releases, but he's the type of player that can just sort of take over an offense. I mean, he really was the engine of USC's offense, and it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I think he fractured his ankle. He had a season-ending injury this year. Otherwise, he might have even been in the Heisman conversation. But he had a really good year, and I think the NFL, I mean, as long as he checks out medically, he'll for sure go first round, and he could be a surprisingly really high pick. So I like Drake London here at 6. It's, pick your own flavor with these receivers, and he could be a dominant one at the next level. At 7, we have another receiver, Jameson Williams, taken by Bradford. At 7, this just feels like a great value too. There's a good chance he could be the first wide receiver off the board with how the NFL likes speed. I mean, he's got that 4.3 track speed. He's just blown up this year for Alabama. He's taken the top off, and sort of saw it against Cincinnati in the bowl game too. He sort of had to take over that John Mechie role since he got hurt, and he kind of showed he could be a little possession receiver too. So there are still some little knocks on him, like the blocking really is a problem, and it'll be interesting to see if he can address that in interviews or if he's going to work on that. But it's holding him back a little bit. And but otherwise, he's got plenty of upside as one of the fastest wide receivers in this class. He's going to go round 1 in the draft, and he's going to go round 1 in your rookie draft. So at 107, this is a really good value. At 108, it is Breece Hall, taken by Fraser Fresh from the Web.com podcast. It's weird because he's fallen a little bit where it felt like he was going to be one of the top running backs taken for sure. I mean, he still is, but to see him here at pick 8 in Superflex is a bit surprising, and I still really like Breece Hall. I mean, he's got everything you want. That vision, that patience is obviously his trademark, and he's elusive, can do work as a pass catcher. The ball security was still a problem. We've talked about it before, but if you get a good landing spot for Breece Hall, he can be a 3-down kind of guy. And with, a mid-first here, I think he'd be ecstatic with that Breece Hall out of Ohio State. Number 9, we've got another running back, Kenneth Walker, who really came onto the scene this year. Mingo Fresh takes him here. He's the host of the Web.com Dynasty podcast. What can you say? What a unbelievable campaign for him. Heisman contender. Just put up video game numbers in the Michigan State offense after transferring from Wake Forest. He's got breakaway speed. He can make guys miss. He's elusive. Shows good vision. There are some questions I have where I probably need to cut up some more film where, as a blocker, he hasn't had a ton of reps from what I've seen. And as a receiver, hasn't gotten a ton of work. So those could be question marks for his 3-down ability. But as a pure runner, he might be the best in this class. So Kenneth Walker, we'll be interested in seeing where his landing spot is. I know I went on the Fire Starters podcast a couple months ago, and I said I'd love to see him on the Falcons in Atlanta. I know Cordero Patterson's kind of taken over, but if Cordero can be that sort of receiving back a little more and Walker just as a pure runner in that offense, I think it'd be really nice. So Kenneth Walker out of Michigan State here at 9. Number 10, Malik Willis, another quarterback off the board. And he's an interesting prospect. Some people who have him as the number 1 quarterback. Josh gets him here, Regia 007 at 10. And, lack of competition, some people talk about. I mean, it's fair, but the game against Ole Miss didn't look great, but the offensive line didn't do him any favors, honestly. He has all the traits that you want in an NFL quarterback. It's just putting it all together. He's got the athleticism, the speed, escapability. He's got a big arm. He can make those throws. It's just doing it consistently. I know I just watched the Syracuse game over, and he looked really accurate there. And you see that sort of upside that an NFL team is going to take a chance on. And I think he's going to go round 1. I really don't know where. I'm trying to figure out where teams are going to peg this guy, but late first in Superflex rookie drafts feels like a fair spot for him after these top running backs. 10 is a pretty nice value if you're looking. I don't think he's a starter right away, but for an upside pick here at the end of the first, I don't mind it. 11, we have another quarterback, Sam Howell, out of North Carolina. He's taken by the Weekly Huddle, Owen, my counterpart in the Dynasty Index, sort of. He's doing the defensive players, but he hops in the mock here and takes Sam Howell, who falls to the end of first. And another player where if you last year you would find out that Sam Howell would be going at the end of first rounds in Superflex, you'd be pretty hard pressed to believe that. But here we are. It was sort of a weird season. I mean, he lost all of those weapons that went to the NFL, and he sort of unlocked this rushing potential because of it. And the offensive line wasn't great either for him, sort of like Willis, where he had to make plays. But he's shown enough for me where he can be a starter at the next level. And unlike Malik Willis, I think he could be a starter right away for an NFL team, where that's sort of the thing with these two guys. You can shoot for the stars with Malik Willis, or you can play it safe with Sam Howell, which at the end of the first, for a quarterback in a super flex draft, I don't mind it. So it will be interesting to see where a guy like Howell goes. I could see like a Washington landing spot for him, which I wouldn't mind. Hook him up with Gibson, McLaurin. That could be fun. So yeah, Sam Howell at the end of the first here, and with the last pick in this mock draft, Parker Brock pops in with wide receiver Chris Olave at the end of the first round with the last pick. I don't know. I'm just not the biggest Chris Olave guy. I can't buy in on this guy for some reason. I mean, he's the most productive Ohio State receiver that they've ever had. Obviously came back for his senior season, but he was still sort of overshadowed by Garrett Wilson, who we took at 3 here, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, who just went insane versus Utah. He was the third best receiver in that offense, which, I mean, obviously a ton of talent, but I just don't know if I see a consistent fantasy asset in Chris Olave. I mean, he's a good deep threat. He's got good footwork, but he's not the most elusive kind of guy. So I compared him to Robbie Anderson. I think that's sort of what he'll be at the next level. But he's probably going to get round 1 NFL draft capital, it sounds like. So if he finds a good landing spot, this could still be a guy that does it. I just don't know if I see myself taking him with some of the names that are still on the board in the first round here. So that wraps up the first round. We did a whole nother second round as well. That will be another video probably next week. I'll try to get that up by. I mean, there's some names still out there for round 2. I mean, we're talking Charbonnet out of UCLA, Jahan Dotson, George Pickens, another guy who was, if you found out you could get Pickens at the top of a second or maybe mid-second, we'll see where he lands in our rookie mock, you'd be very surprised as well. So there's going to be some value in the second round as well, and we'll pop in next time. I hope you guys enjoy this. You can find out who goes there next time, but yeah, I think this was a good exercise. If you guys want to partake in this, get your Twitter @ on the screen, join some mock drafts. Dynasty Index. I'll advertise it again. $3 a month, $20 a year. We're entering draft season, so I'm going to be busy on there, as well as uploading film. So anyways, if you guys like this kind of content, drop a like. It helps a lot. The last video I did on the how good is the 2022 draft class did really well. And I'll probably do an update to that as well, because I've watched a lot of film on more guys, and there's been a few guys that have risen and fallen as I've watched more. So just enjoying the process. We still got a few months to the draft. It's exciting times though. So as always, thanks everyone for tuning in, and I will catch you next time.